She is best known for her beloved sitcom The Nanny, but ask any kid or parent these days, and they'll tell you she is the voice of Eunice in the Hotel Transylvania movies. And what a voice she has. The one and only Fran Drescher will be out here to talk live with us in just a moment. But first, here's a sneak peek of Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation, opening in theaters July 13th.
Everybody, just please watch the hair. Watch the hair! Here comes the babe! Not the hair! Not the hair! No, 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 no!
All right, everyone, please welcome Fran Drescher.
Hi, I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. It's always so fun.
Do you miss New York? I think you're bi-coastal. You go back and forth, right?
I am bi-coastal, so I'm happy to say that I get the best of both worlds. I live on the beach in LA, and here I live on the park. So
nice.
it is nice. I'm very lucky, very blessed. And, you know, when I come here, everybody's always sort of inviting me out to their home in the Hamptons or in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, or wherever it is. But it's like, you know, I live on the beach in LA, so when I come to New York is such a great cultural city.
You want the New York, you want the Manhattan experience.
Exactly. I can't get enough of all the theater and music, and you know, just even Central Park is so amazing. So I'm always happy to come here and experience the Big A.
Nice.
My hometown.
Yes, Queens represent. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I was in Queens at Citi Field, and I went to see John Mayer and Dead and Company.
Oh, yeah?
And I haven't been around that many people from Queens, and now the show is back on Cozy TV, so everybody's watching it again, because there was like a little window when it was off before it moved over to Cozy, and now it's like everybody was like so excited at this stadium. It was just so funny.
You must get mobbed in Queens. I mean, I think you're beloved everywhere, but like especially in Queens.
I think Queens is definitely, you know, off the Richter scale. But, you know, I'm like a Beatle in Argentina. I mean, it's so funny. Everyone knows me in France. I mean, all over the world. It was very successful and continues to be successful in Russia. You know, it's just crazy. I mean, everywhere, really. Australia.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk.
I'm very lucky.
Let's talk some Hotel Transylvania, shall we?
Oh, it's so good.
So this is number 3. This is Summer
I
Vacation.
know.
And this is your 3rd time around the Hotel
Yeah,
Transylvania
they keep
block.
asking me back, which I'm so delighted about.
On the HD block. Yes. So what was it that initially drew you into this series? Like what piqued your interest in it from the get-go?
You know, first of all, I love Adam Sandler. He was the one that invited me to join the cast. And he assembled an amazing group of comic actors, which is not usual in these animated films. Maybe there'll be one comic actor and then the rest are all, you know, regular actors. But this had so many in it. It almost reminded me a little bit of Spinal Tap, the assemblage of people and the writers from SNL. And so, you know, that was very inviting for me. And then the idea that, you know, I can be in a great family film that's actually legitimately fun for the whole family, because it's written on so many different levels that if you're an adult, whether you have kids or not, you would probably enjoy this movie if you like animation, and I do. And if you have kids, then you can really enjoy something that everybody in the family enjoys equally because they receive it on different levels. And the visuals are great, and it always has a good message, which is something that I'm always very interested in. So, you know, here it's because it's a mixture of, you know, monsters and humans usually. It's, you know, it teaches you tolerance and not being fearful of things that are different. And so in that regard, I think that there's like a very valuable subliminal message to the storytelling.
Well, we were just talking about New York. This series has some hardcore New York cred too, because it has yourself, Adam Sandler, who you mentioned, Kevin James, Steve Buscemi, Mel Brooks, came into this series in
Yeah.
number 2. And I was going to ask you if that was just coincidental, but it looks you said Sandler drew you in.
Yes.
So it is a case of New Yorkers bringing other New Yorkers into the fold.
Yeah, I don't even know if it might just be coincidental. Maybe New Yorkers are funnier. I
mean,
know.
there's a lot of proof that they might be.
Because I think he was, obviously he was just really kind of interested in the funny aspect. But it is. I didn't even really ever think about that most of them are from New York. Wow.
And you play Eunice,
Yes.
bride
Eunice Stein.
Eunice Stein,
Frank
bride of Frank,
Frank Stein.
a.k.a. Frank Stein, voiced by Kevin James.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, like this is the first time that we leave Transylvania. So we're taking a cruise. We're all going on our own vacation instead of being in a hotel where, Dracula is the host of everybody else's vacation. So it really opens up, the opportunity to expand the world, see other things, have more fun with the animation, the water, the great outdoors. And so that's very, very appealing. And then everything that's so fun on a cruise ship, like my husband, Frank, he likes to gamble, and I forbid him to go. Not that he listens to me, but I forbid him to go because I said last time you lost an arm and a leg, literally. So a little monster humor.
Yes. There's all sorts of monster puns.
Yeah.
The puns come hot and heavy in this one. Forgive me if I butcher his name, but the writer-director, Gendy Tartakovsky, is it close enough?
I'll say yes.
Okay.
I am never the one to ask how to pronounce anything,
Yes.
believe me.
Well, he said that this one was halfway inspired by the National Lampoon vacation movies, only on a cruise ship,
Right.
only with monsters and animated, but it kind of has that vibe, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's just, I'm telling you, it really is. Even to be compared to that, it gives you the context of, the tone of the humor, and that it's absolutely entertaining for grown-ups.
You have described Eunice in the past as sexy, which I'm going to go ahead and agree with. I definitely find Eunice sexy. What do you think makes her sexy?
Well, I think that, she always looks nice. She dresses really nice. She's got very petite feet and very big hair that also always looks nice. So she kind of reminds me a little bit of another character I played.
Who's that?
But, it's just, they had already designed that character, I think, before my first day of working. So it wasn't like they actually tried to make her look like me, but I think that they may have, accessed certain things, the short skirts and the big hair and all of that. So
I think it's her voice. I think that's it.
Well, the voice, yes, that is definitely one and the same.
She yells a lot.
She does.
Does that hurt your voice in the recording booth? It seems like you get a workout in this movie.
Yeah, they always have beverages and stuff.
A lot of teas around.
You don't have
a lot of
to,
herbs.
yes, all that stuff, honey. But you don't have to really do it more than usually 3 or 4 times each line. So I don't know. It hasn't been a problem. But truth be told, my part is not that big. So maybe if I had one of the larger roles in the movie, it could be a strain on my voice, and maybe we'd have to break it up over more days or something. But it's not a big enough part, I think, to be vocal cord threatening.
How come no one names their kids Eunice anymore? I mean, come on, it's a great.
I know,
I'm a little partial. My
Eunice.
grandmother was a Eunice.
Oh, really?
I'm a little partial, but it's a great name.
Old-fashioned names are
Well,
coming back in,
all
though.
right.
I met a adorable little baby recently at an event. She was so cute. She was able to sit up already and hold her head up, so she must have been at least 6 months. And, she was wearing pink and a little pink thing. And I said, "What's your name?" And her mother said, Rosalie. And I said, oh, Rosalie, I love that. But I think when I was younger, if I had a girlfriend whose name was Rosalie, I'd think, what? But now, I don't
Yeah,
know. Old
yeah.
school names are
They're
coming
coming
back in vogue.
I hope
I
Eunice
think we're
does.
going to see a Eunice.
You think we're gonna? I mean,
Yeah, with the success of Hotel T3.
this is gonna move the needle. I mean, there have been a lot of cool Eunices over.
But
Do you
what
know who
would
was?
be the nickname? Uni?
I'll tell you. Do you know who actually was named Eunice? Nina Simone.
But
She was born but that's her
Okay.
nickname, Nina.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Eunice Nina. I don't even. Are you sure that's a nickname or that's just her stage name? Maybe somebody
maybe,
said Eunice.
yeah.
No.
Maybe.
We're gonna call you Nina.
Yeah. Eunice Grayson. There was a Bond girl named Eunice. Eunice has a lot of credit in pop culture. My grandmother. That's all I'm saying.
I know. Just yeah, right. Her alone
Yes. Thank
should
you.
have
Eunice
been
Keene.
trending already.
R.I.P.
Ah.
What do you enjoy about voice work in general?
Well, I thought it meant I wasn't going to have to get dressed in hair and makeup and heels, but with this particular franchise, they do a lot of EPK
Right. They want to film you
of
in the
the
booth.
celebrities that are recording, so it's like they always want me dressed up when I'm working, so it wouldn't be that. I guess eventually as time goes on, like if I end up doing an animated series, and I did just do a pilot for one with Jack Black, then, I could keep getting older, whatever, and the character always stays the same, like
That's
on The
right.
Simpsons.
That's right.
So that's kind of fun, that idea.
Well, it is no wonder that everybody wants you to do voice work for them because you are an American icon, and I think separately so is your voice. I wanted to know though, like, take us back to the beginning of your career. Was that ever a detriment? Were there ever people telling you, you have to lose the accent, you have to tweak your voice somehow?
Yeah, I think that I started working almost immediately for some reason, and that was the genre where what was on TV was like John Travolta and the Sweat Hogs and Welcome Back, Kotter. And it was the Fonz on Happy Days and, Laverne and Shirley. So I was in high school wanting to break into the business, and that kind of young person was, being seen on TV a lot. So there was a lot of that around, and my first movie was Saturday Night Fever.
Right. Yes.
And,
Speaking of
and then
Travolta.
commercials I did and things like that. But I did have like a high school teacher that said, you're never going to work with that voice. You have to learn how to speak like a normal person. And years later, when I was on The Nanny and they interviewed my parents, they asked my parents if when I was a little kid, did, it seemed like I had a strange voice. And my mom, in almost the exact same voice, said, we never knew she had a funny voice. So, maybe it runs in the family because my sister, who's a nurse, often people say, who you sound like? Fran Drescher. And she says, that's my sister. So I have a feeling that my poor dad, right? Somehow I always manage to get a man, though, so it must not be that bad.
I love your voice personally.
Thank you.
Did you ever go back to have a talk with that high school teacher, and after you were on The Nanny, and be like,
Yeah.
you
Hello?
rub it in a little bit? You were
no.
wrong. Sorry.
No, I didn't because it's, I'm sure they're all.
You're a better person than I am.
Yeah, I know. I do try and take the high road, I'm a Boo Jew, Buddhist Jew. So I'm always trying to turn my lemons into lemonade. I'm doing are we on the air right now?
We are. We're live.
Oh, because this Monday is my cabaret dinner cruise, And that's right here in New York Harbor. So anybody
Okay.
that's watching may want to go to cancerschmancer.org and buy a ticket and come meet me in person. And we'll take professional pictures, and then we'll take a little cruise in New York Harbor with cocktails and hors d'oeuvres. And then we'll come back in to the dock, and we'll have a delicious organic dinner and like incredible, the best of Broadway and cabaret entertainment.
Nice.
And all of that supports Cancer Schmancer programs. And a very big one right now is Be the Change, that's targeting tweens and teens, because they're the first generation predicted to not live as long as their parents in U.S. history. And we don't want to make that a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we got Jamie Foxx and me and a bunch of kids. And Jeff Bridges is in it too. And we're all trying to teach them how to, be more discerning consumers, because they don't vote, they don't pay taxes, so they don't have a lot of influence in Washington, but they do wield a lot of power because they're a multi-billion-dollar generation of spenders. And so, when they go out and spend money, that's their vote, that's their protest. And they got to make sure that they're not like totally influenced by big business advertising that really doesn't have their best interest at heart. So while they're getting richer, our kids' health is getting poorer. And that's what we have to flip around. Stop enabling those, poor manufacturing practices simply by not buying it, If everybody stopped drinking cola today, they'd stop making it tomorrow. That's simple. So we collectively, with our purchasing power, can dictate more responsible manufacturing changes and at the same time reduce our risk of getting sick, because over 95% of all kinds of diseases that are becoming chronic in our everyday life is because of the stuff that we are exposing ourselves to mindlessly each and every day. And so our program at Cancer Schmancer is Detox Your Home, because the home is the most toxic place we spend the most time in and ironically have the most control over. So we ask you to think, what are you putting in your mouth, in, on, and around you? In your mouth, all your personal care items, and cleaning and gardening. And you start with that, and you take the check, choose, and change challenge. Check labels, choose healthy, organic, eco-friendly ingredients, and become the change we so desperately need.
That's fantastic. Give it up for that, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yes. I know you're a survivor, so much respect to you and
Thank
to
you.
all the
Yesterday
work you are
was
doing.
my 18-year anniversary of wellness. I always celebrate.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about The Nanny.
Okay.
1993 to 1999, I believe. People love this show.
The gay 90s.
Yeah. Take us back. Well, how do you look back on that experience? That had to be such a whirlwind for you.
It was amazing. I mean, from the first day, everything was like someone was looking over us. From the running into the president of CBS on a plane to go visit my girlfriend and convincing him to let me pitch ideas for myself on my own show, which he later admitted every actress in Los Angeles tries to do that, but we really came in with the bullseye idea. And then when I went to visit my girlfriend, I was just walking around London with her daughter, who suddenly her shoes started hurting her and she wanted to go home. And I'm thinking, I'm not ready to go home. So I said, just step on the backs of them. And she said, won't that break them? And I said, break them in. And I couldn't get this funny idea out of my head. I thought, this is a crazy relationship, because I'm the caregiver, but I'm not telling her what's good for her. I'm telling her what's good for me. So I called Peter back in LA and I said, what do you think about a spin on The Sound of Music? Only instead of Julie Andrews, I come to the door. And he has a very good sense of these things. And he said, that's it. Let's pitch that to CBS as soon as you get home. And that was the beginning of The Nanny. And, we rolled into the studio after we were green-lighted to make the pilot. And it was like, there was our names on we had our own spots, parking spots, and we each had, our name on a parking spot. And it was like, we're just two kids from Queens that came from very humble beginnings. And it was just, we knew we caught lightning in a bottle, and it was something that was just amazing. And truly, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, speaking of, I've heard whispers that maybe it could come back someday. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I'm not planning on doing it anytime soon because we're working on another project that I do think people will be excited about, but I'm not at liberty to announce it.
Okay.
And I am out there, I have other ideas too, things that I'd like to do. So it's not on my immediate radar, but I never say never.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the show, but it's so classic that it would have to be just so amazing because, we can't have like Godfather 3 happen.
No.
That would be bad.
But maybe it's Godfather 2.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, 90s reboots are kind of in right now.
Yeah.
Will and
In
Grace.
In and out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Will and Grace. Yes. Yeah, maybe Roseanne's not a great example.
But I think that they're going to do the Connors.
They are going to do the Connors, which is great for those cast members. For sure.
I agree.
Sure.
I felt really bad for all of them. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And then, listen, I mean, it's not like we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We're going to go to an audience Q&A in just a second. I've got one last question for you. Before we do that, we'll go back. You mentioned your first role,
Yes.
Saturday Night Fever. Tell us your favorite memory from making that film. Disco classic.
Yeah, well, Travolta is an amazing dancer, and I really did not know how to do the hustle. I mean, that was like really like steps, like moves that you had to know. And I did not, and even though on camera I wasn't supposed to be a good dancer, off camera, he grabbed me and started pushing and twirling, and I realized that I didn't have to know how to dance when you dance with Travolta. But fast forward, like many years later, I'm going to say maybe 25 years later, and I'm on a red carpet, and who's next to me giving an interview but John Travolta, who was standing with his wife. And I immediately kind of crash his interview. And I said, are you as good in bed as you are in the dance floor? Which is my line in Saturday Night Fever. Well, if I tell you his wife's jaw dropped. She thought I was coming on to her husband, which I would never do.
Of course not.
But, he knew exactly what I was doing and said how proud he was of my success. So, I think he's just great. And that was, another iconic film. That, Spinal Tap. I was in American Hot Wax, all these music-driven movies, and I love music, so it kind of worked out.
Awesome. Well, let's go to the audience Q&A. Who's up first? Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for all you do to encourage the healthier lifestyle and lifestyle
Thank you.
choices and the trash cancer. And I hope your cruise is going to be a big success.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So on that note, top 3 things perhaps you've done that have really you found worked well for you, the changes.
Well, I think that, you mean in terms of health and wellness? Okay, definitely eat organic. You don't need to eat any industrial farmed anything, meat or produce. None of it is healthy for you. It's all laden with chemicals, and it's not serving any of us well. If we start asking ourselves, why do so many people have autoimmune, chronic inflammation, asthma, allergy, you name it, that's why. And so just stop. Let's support local organic family farms, period. Sustainably farmed. Let's go back to old school farming. That's where we belong. And then the other thing is, I would say, check your toothpaste. If it says do not swallow, right in the trash. You don't need any toothpaste that says do not swallow. Toothpaste should have ingredients that may have grown in your grandma's garden, period. nor do you need, in my opinion, and many people in functional medicine, like chlorine and fluoride in your water or your toothpaste. It's just silly to bathe all those. You don't need it. You don't need it. Just, there's prebiotics for the mouth that help build a healthy microbiome. That's where we have to think about the body. Fortify the microbiome. Get the good bacteria there to keep a healthy balance. It all begins in the gut. Gut is brain. Gut is mouth. So start thinking about systems. Skin is liver. This is how we have to think. Don't just treat the symptom, whatever it is. You have a headache. Well, maybe your microbiome is off. Maybe, your immune system is a little compromised. Maybe you're dehydrated. It's like you don't need to suppress every single symptom. Use it as a warning. Let your body speak to you. It's talking to you. Respect it. Honor it. Try and figure out, okay, why is this happening? What is my body trying to tell me? Work with your body because the mind is so egoic. It thinks it's the worst roommate in the whole house. Ignore it as much as you can. It's not going to help you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next up.
Hi, our next question is going to come from an online viewer. So Carla would like to know, what place do you want to go to that you haven't been to before?
Well, I shall tell you because I'm planning that trip. I've been many places in the world, but I've not been to Portugal. And I kind of decided, now that Madonna moved there, must be pretty good. So I want to check it out. Well, that kind of started my interest because I always loved Portuguese, tile and pottery, always. So I was drawn to it for that reason. I like that it's a European nation on the Europe, yet it's not been so gentrified and Americanized and westernized that there's, a Starbucks and a McDonald's on every other corner. It's actually still quiet, old school, really kind of has an authentic vibe. Then, I know a lot of my Parisian friends are leaving Paris, moving there. They have a great modern museum in Porto where they make port wine. Mm-hmm. There's a fabulous island off the coast that's called Madeira where they make Madeira wine. And, it's kind of like a coastline community up and down. And so, I don't know, I'm gonna check it out.
And Lisbon is beautiful too. I've been to Lisbon.
Oh, you have been to Lisbon?
Yeah, it's like a European San Francisco.
Yes,
it's
got
great
the
seafood.
it's got the trolley cars.
Yes.
And it's a little hilly and stuff like that, and great seafood. And I'm also seeing a lot of big, like kind of chic gay community moving in. And so when you have Madonna and you have the gays, buy property.
And John Malkovich owns a super club there. Did you know that? In Lisbon.
Oh.
You gotta check that out as well.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's where Madonna will be.
I like Johnny Mac.
Yes. We got one more question.
Hi, Fran.
Hi.
I know it's Pride Month, and I was just wondering if you're involved with the LGBTQ community, like how you got started and how that inspired you.
Well, it inspired me to get into gay civil liberties. Is that your question? Because, I've kind of been, for all of my career, a gay icon, and that was before my husband came out. I'm just saying, I have a gay ex-husband. And, while we're on the subject, people always say to me, how did you not know? And it's like, I don't know. We were having a lot of sex. I met him when I was 15. I didn't know any better. How did I know he was fantasizing about the bartender at Olive Garden? And, we had this thing when we first met that we would say, if ever we ran into, the celebrity of our, fantasy, we could have one free pass with him. Mm-hmm. So his was Cher. And
Who was yours?
and mine was Bruce Jenner. So, no gaydar, okay? No, okay. But as far as, I mean, I'm always going to the mat for anybody that's marginalized, but, I definitely think that it's just, I mean, I'm just so thrilled that that community has made such great strides, and there's just so much more yet to be done. So I actually did 2 Pride events on Monday. We like to kick off the Cabaret Dinner Cruise with Pride Week and, get that all excited. And I've won the Stonehill Award, and, I'm always very honored to the Philadelphia Bell Award. So it's just, I don't want to see kids being bullied. I don't want to see anybody, and that's part of, I think, what I'm attracted to with Hotel Transylvania 3, because, just if you're different, or, it's like, that's cool, move in, don't, resist, move forward and get to know. And you'll find that, most of us are very much alike. So, that's an important thing. And it's, I guess that's, kind of where it's at. I don't know. I was going to say something else, but, oh, yeah. I gave an award. I didn't give an award. I made a toast to Gloria Allred, who was being roasted at the Friars Club last night. And I'm not into roasting anybody. My brand of comedy is self-deprecation. I don't like putting other people down. And also, it was my anniversary of wellness. I said, Gloria, it's my night too. So I already have plans with my friends and family, but I'll come and I'll make a toast in the Milton Berle room before, you start your roast, and then I could get on with my friends. So it turns out that Gloria actually had a big case where the Miss Universe Canada had eliminated someone who turned out to be transgender, was a beautiful woman, but actually born a male. And she went right in. You can't do this. This isn't, fair. And she won. And there is ne'er a Miss Universe pageant anywhere in the world that has not changed the rules. So if you're transgender, you can enter Miss Universe. And that's because of Gloria Allred.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I found out a lot about it because I had to make a toast.
Yeah.
So I wanted to look it up. She also went up against Savon in I think, California, because they had toys in different aisles for boys and for girls, just kind of, too gender specific. And in the end, Savon changed it, and now all the toys are mixed together.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Fran, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all you
you're
do.
welcome.
Well, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Check out Hotel Transylvania Summer Vacation, July 13th. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.